And I don't know that there really is a way to explain it. I mean, frankly, I don't know that anybody could have predicted 66 points coming from this offense. But I think very clearly we saw something out of BYU that we've been waiting for just about a month now. And my feeling is that my opinion has significantly changed on Jaren Hall. I still think he's an average thrower of the football, but it is very clear that the play calling in this offense has got to improve and become more consistent because I saw a guy that effectively threw the football underneath, that effectively used his legs to create opportunities for other players, including Tyler Algier. I just don't understand where this play calling has been, Jake.
Yeah, so I agree with you that I still think that Jaren is an average thrower of the football, but I think that what we learned out of this Virginia game is that he can do enough to win you games. He can do enough to win you games through the air, and so the next, if we just keep kind of moving up or down the chart here, like the next person that I would ask questions about, yeah, is Aaron Roderick, right? The guy calling all the plays, and I think that what really stood out to me is you started this game off, really, really hot, right? You get 3 scores, everything's awesome. Oh my God, let's go and tweet the Monty show and tell them how stupid they are about Jaren Hall. And then all of a sudden, what happened? Then all of a sudden, your offense couldn't do anything. They came back, and all of a sudden, you have this crazy ball game happening. And so, what was really impressive to me is that BYU was able to stay calm, and they were able to continue to move the ball down the field and do things. So, to me, I just didn't understand why when Virginia was in the midst of that comeback, why the play calling for BYU offensively got conservative. All of a sudden, you went from going way down the field and being aggressive and playing hurry up to not playing hurry up to everything's underneath and we're just going to kind of, be methodical again. That's what I don't understand. And that to me after watching this game is really the core of the offensive issues because when you allow Jaren to throw the football down the field and you put him in a position to make a play, he typically is going to make that play. Now, it's no secret that Virginia's secondary isn't good. It's no secret that this Virginia defense is not exactly, something to write home about. But at the end of the day, you can only play who's in front of you. So when I look at the rest of the schedule, I would like them to continue to push the ball down the field. Be aggressive. What's the worst that's going to happen if you're being aggressive? He's going to throw an interception. That's part of the game. So that to me is what really stood out. Just the inconsistency in the play calling, which has clearly led to issues for the offense.
So you're 100% on play calling.
Yes.
I think there's a couple of things at play here. Well, Virginia sucks defensively.
Right.
Let's just be
Yeah.
honest. Virginia was not great. But I also think that Jaren Hall showed us some things that we had not seen from him yet. I mean, the underneath passing is a weapon that we have been talking about on this show for 3 straight weeks, for 2 straight losses, for a team that so desperately needed to get a wide variety of weapons involved. You finally saw that. And I don't believe now that Jaren Hall just didn't want to do that. I agree with you wholeheartedly. I think there is a play calling issue at BYU. It is remarkably inconsistent. I think that the best point you make there is the go fast then go super slow thing.
Yeah.
Like, why did you get away from what was working?
Who thought that was a good idea to go? Because you were going fast and you were dominating them, and then they score, and now we want to go slow.
And you dominated right off the get on the line of scrimmage. Like
Yeah.
BYU was winning the line of scrimmage right away. Why did you stop running the football? That's the other thing. Like, and I don't know if this is a Kalani being a defensive guy, so he just stays out of the offense. Like, I don't know. But when you look at how little running of the football happened consistently in the first half, and then the second half, all you did was run the football, it felt like.
Yeah.
And you're in this shootout, you're back and forth. I just don't understand the inconsistent play calling. And listen, I think scoring 66 points is incredible. That's great. It's something that, again, I don't think anybody could have predicted this. But you should have never been in that situation. You should have never been in a place where you needed 50 points to win this football game. And when you get out to a 21-0 lead and then you just hand it back to them, that's play calling offensively. Like the second quarter was one of the most poorly executed coaching quarters that I have seen in the Kalani Sitake era. Like I don't know what we were looking at. I don't know what the BYU coaching staff was thinking in the second quarter. I really don't. All of the throwing, all of the just like poor decision making.
Yeah.
Control the clock, run the football. Tyler Algier had time and space, and you stopped giving him the football. Like, that's a coaching issue. That is not, to me, an issue with Jaren. And as much as I still believe that Jaren Hall is an average thrower of the football, he was really effective because he was running the ball. Like, by design, keeping the football, using his legs, creating space, creating a doubt in the linebackers' minds. Where did that go to in the second quarter? Like, I just don't understand that.
Yeah,
And
I think it really limits them. I think, now what's the narrative in my head, what I'm thinking about is, okay, let's look back at a couple of these losses. Let's look at Baylor, for example. Baylor is a much better defensive team, right? They've got a lot more size. They've got a lot more ability, a lot more talent in that defense. However, think of it this way. What could have been if they were consistently going down the field, if they were consistently, pushing the envelope, if they were consistently putting pressure on the defense. Now, let's not forget that in that game, they took 3 to 5 big shots, and Jaren missed most of them because he just underthrew everything. So there's that give and take that we play, but I just can't help but feel that if this play calling had been consistent the way we saw at times against Virginia, that they would have won a couple of different games. So I guess to me, I wish Jaren was better. I wish he was a more polished thrower of the football. But candies and nuts, right? Like, we can wish and hope for things, but the fact is that's not going to change right now. So I would just hope that the rest of the way here with Jaren, you continue to be aggressive, because I think the biggest thing is when you're calling plays that are aggressive and going down the field and really pushing the defense and putting pressure on them. Jaren does well in those situations, and then that helps Tyler, because let's also give Tyler Algier some credit here. The guy clearly is an NFL running back. The guy clearly should, if he played it anywhere else besides BYU, if he was in the SEC doing this, he'd be in the Heisman conversation. So, the correct play calling also helps your running back, which then also helps everybody else. So I just wish that there was a consistent game plan week in and week out to find this balance we saw against Virginia. Because I think against a good defense, you put up 66 against Virginia. Against a good defense, that's probably 35, right? Against a defense that's capable and making plays, that's probably like 35 points.
yeah, I think it is one of those things where you just look at some of the numbers out of this game. I mean, the box score is almost meaningless in a game like this. But it is shocking to me that you see how capable this offense is when you actually take the reins off of it.
Yeah.
Just relax and let the guys play football. And I think sometimes we overthink offense. And I think, obviously I understand why everybody's screaming for Algier to be in the Heisman conversation. He's not. And he doesn't belong in the conversation, frankly. But he is a hell of a running back. And I think he is a great prospect that is underutilized.
Yeah.
Because of the way the offense is structured, because of the way you've called plays. And I think it's a really interesting question. I think very clearly in the Boise game, Jaren Hall was not healthy. I don't think there's any doubt about that. I wonder how much healthier he was against Baylor after that 56-yard run.
But we could still ask questions, though, right? So, when you're Aaron Roderick and you're controlling this offense, you get to choose who's playing, right? You get to choose who's going to start this week. Obviously, you got to, consult with Kalani, but they make the decision together. So to me, hello, Siri's all
Siri
upset.
is just all up in my new Apple Watch 7 series.
So to me, I'm like, hey, against these teams where Jaren was hurt.
It's gold.
Yeah, it's gold. Yeah.
My 7 series Apple Watch is gold.
Okay. Do you feel good?
I'm done pimping. Go ahead.
Okay, cool. All right. So anyway, the point I was just making is that
it's very large.
To me, yeah, large and in charge. I know. To me, the questions need to be around, Aaron Roderick and not so much Jaren Hall at this point. That's my point.
Yeah, I would agree with that. And I think obviously you have some issues defensively that you're going to have to take care of, because I think that you cannot continue. I don't know. What's the right way to say this? I just don't think this team cannot continue to play from behind.
Bro, you gave a 50.
I mean, you can't play
Like,
from behind. It is, and again, the headline of this show today is BYU shocks the college football world, and I think that's exactly what happened. Like, it is stunning to me I mean, 66-49 is not a score that anybody could have predicted.
no.
Over 700 yards of offense is not something anybody could have predicted. I look at the fact that defensively you're struggling, and we can sit here and we can talk about turnovers, but you got 2 interceptions in this game.
Yep.
We can sit here and talk about the fact that, hey, you know what? You can't get off the field on 4th down defensively. Virginia, again, continued a trend of teams doing well. Virginia was, 2 of 3 on 4th down, I think. 4 of 10, 40% on 3rd downs, not ideal. So you look at some of the numbers on this BYU defense, and you're continuing to question, is it a talent thing? Is it a schematic thing? Like, my feeling is it's not scheme. I think it's talent. You have a lot of injuries on that side of the football. I don't think it's scheme. But, you can look at the fact that BYU caused 3 turnovers. That's pretty good. We'll take that every day of the week. You will take that. I think when you look at time of possession, you ran the football really well. But the things that really stand out to you is that I don't know. I continue not to know what the game plan is week in and week out offensively. Like, this is a team that should run the football, and I mean 30 carries every single week for Tyler Algier. And we just don't get that. And you get 29 for 266 and 5 scores, and oh my God, it's a miracle we won the game.
Right.
But how can that be your thinking when if Tyler Algier runs for 150, 175 yards, you have a really good chance of winning the game.
Every game.
Because you're going to control the clock, you're going to control time of possession, yet all of a sudden you want to get pass happy and you want to run like trickery and run the football. That's all that this team requires. When you have a quarterback that is a dual threat and who is a better, in my opinion, more effective runner than passer, run the football. When you have a guy that has the ability to throw underneath, throw the ball underneath. And I'm hoping this was some kind of revelation, but that you actually threw the ball, 5 to 7 yards down the field and you did it effectively really speaks volumes. The fact that, but again, I will say, where's Isaac Rex? Only 2 catches. Now, it's awesome that Puka Nacua, I thought the Nacua brothers had absolutely an impact beyond belief in this game for 11 catches, 214 yards, and 2 scores combined. I mean, you're doing the job with those guys. But I also think they did a great job of spreading the football around to Hill and Pau and, Rex with the 2. Like, I still maintain that there's a lot more left to get out of this offense.
Yeah.
And I wonder what it's going to take to get there.
Yeah, it's going to take play calling that puts your guys in a better position. That's the thing. Like, I think, the offensive line, really both lines, but because we're talking offense, the offensive line played really well. And I think it all starts there, as it always does in football. You always hear that, right? Like, hey, if your offensive line is playing well, that's just going to have a trickle-down effect, and you're going to be better offensively. But I really felt like in this game, BYU's offensive line played really well, and that's why you saw Tyler have a big day. That's why you saw Jaren having protection and able to complete a lot of passes. And so to me, I think a lot of what happened and contributed to the 66 points in this game was, hey, it's, UVA is a little bit lesser of an opponent, right? So that plays into it. But I think that BYU just did a great job of executing, and everybody was all excited when they came out to that early lead. But I think, the other narrative coming out of this game is we always talk about how BYU likes to play from in front. And when they scored those 3 touchdowns, I was like, okay, this feels good. We're taking control, but it's early. So can you hold this team down the whole game? So I don't know. I just think that if the play calling can stay consistent, they're going to be fine. But it's when they get into this constantly trying to, throw screens and these 2-yard out routes.
You
And,
can't give up 35
like,
points in a quarter and expect to win.
yeah,
You just there's no way. You
no
can't give up.
way.
What did they have at the half? 42.
Yeah.
You can't give up 42 points in the first half and expect to win. And again, I think it's all well and good that you scored it was 42-38 at the half. Well, that's
Yeah.
all well and good. But 9 out of 10 weeks, you're not going to win that game.
And most of their possessions were like under 2 minutes in this game, like for both
Yeah.
sides. Like that's not what traditional football is.
I'm telling you now that you cannot continue. You cannot play a game like this and be. I mean, it's fun. It was a fun game to watch. It was fun to see the guys out there throwing the football all over the place. And this is not what you want from BYU football. You would love to win games 35-28.
Yeah.
You don't want to be winning games 66-49 because I'd also remind you they ran for 200 yards on your defense again. And I mean, what this tells you is, hey, you were way better in the second half defensively. I don't think there's any doubt.
Yeah.
But there's no celebration to be had defensively in this game.
Yeah, and I think it's a great question. Like, as a BYU fan, how should you feel coming out of this game? I mean, obviously you won the game. You had, obviously an offensive display. But obviously on the flip side of that, there are some things to be concerned about. Like you were just saying, the defense, the way certain things played out. So, like, I feel like if you're a BYU fan, you should be thrilled with how the weekend went. But at the same time, you should be cognizant of some of the things that this team is still struggling with, and that's going to be mostly on the defensive side of the ball.
Yeah, I would agree. BYU fan CJ, I think apparently made some crack about San Diego State. Jeremy Bolton says, "Sup, fellas."
What's up?
He says, Jaren. And again, I'm telling you, this is a good win. This feels good. It's Bronco. Like, I totally get it.
Yeah.
I would slow your roll a little bit because I can't be the only one that's wondering where this play calling was.
Yeah.
I cannot be. BYU fan CJ says, I said San Diego State isn't ranked and laughed at Eric C. Well, you said something more than that if YouTube is filtering your comment. Greg Hawkins says, morning to you, Monty Jake, go Utes. Yeah, what a weekend for the Utes. We'll talk about them in a minute. The Nye guy says, Jake drives the car for the ladies.
Okay.
Ladies don't like his car. Who's the better running back, Algier or Kenneth Walker? I don't know. I mean,
I don't know which line is playing better.
Wait a minute. Wait a minute. So this is inevitably what happens. Is Tyler Algier will have a big game, and then somebody else will bring up, well, what about this? I don't think there's any doubt that Tyler Algier is one of the top 3 running backs in college football.
Yeah.
Right? Like, I don't think there's any doubt about that. And I'm looking for his stats. But of course, I can't pull that. But I mean, Kenneth Walker had a great weekend. Michigan State doing what they did Michigan dirty. Like, and if Jim Harbaugh doesn't get fired after this weekend, I don't know when he will.
Yeah.
But Kenneth Walker had a hell of a game against Michigan. 23 carries, 197 yards, and 5 scores. Fantastic. Tyler Algier is a hell of a running back.
Yeah.
And it drives me nuts in sports. Kobe or Jordan? LeBron or Kobe? LeBron or Jordan? Like, we don't need to do it. They're both great running backs. I think if you want to look at consistent performances, I don't know that anybody has put up the numbers in big games that Tyler Algier has.
Yeah, he seems to always come up clutch.
Yeah, their P5 wins. By the way, I also can't be the only one that's noticed that BYU, I wonder how much BYU plays down to their opponent.
That happens.
There was a clear lack of intensity against Boise State.
Boise.
Right? But if you look at Virginia, Washington State, ASU, Utah, and Arizona, that's 5 P5 wins against 1 loss in Baylor when you were never in the game.
Right.
So I kind of wonder, like, you better come out and just run Idaho State and Georgia Southern off the field and then go to SC on, what is that, the 27th.
You got to beat SC, man.
You better.
You have to.
You got to boat race them at home. Go to the Coliseum and boat race USC because they're not very good. We saw that
Yeah.
again. They're not very good. If you have a season where you get 6 P5 wins, that would be remarkable.
Yes.
That would be remarkable. But anyway, my point is, I think when you look at Tyler Algier, I just think you have to. It's very hard to compare college football players. The only position you can do that at is quarterback.
Mm-hmm.
I think running backs are. I mean, if anybody's got better numbers at 1,100 yards and 16 scores, and an average of 6 yards a carry, I mean,
there's a lot that goes into
you.
playing running back, man. I mean,
Yeah.
it's not just. I mean, that's why you only have the quarterback comparisons, because at running back, you've got your offensive line in play. You've got, how much the defense is actually playing the run, and then play calling, and So I mean, there's just so much that goes into it. So I just think that Tyler O'Gill's a great running back. I don't think there doesn't need to be a need to compare him to a bunch of other people and stuff. I mean, he's a great running back.
Yeah.
He's definitely going to go to the league. There's no doubt.
I mean, he's got 7 touchdowns in his last 2 games,
Yeah.
so I think he'll be fine. Anyway, here nor there. My point is, I think they're both good backs. I just hate comparing college kids. Jeremy Bolton says, "Hey, there will be no Jaren slander after Saturday.
Well,
some of the throws and decisions he made, wowee. I don't know that I saw wow throws out of Jaren Hall. I mean, did he make good throws? He did. But see, this is the other thing that happens. Oh my God, they scored 66 points. Jaren Hall's amazing. Jaren Hall's an average thrower of the quarterback. My feelings on that have not changed even a little bit.
Average thrower of the football.
Average thrower of the football, excuse me. My feelings on that have not changed a little bit. I mean, they dominated the second half because they controlled the clock and Tyler Algier controlled the game. That's why they dominated the second half. Did Jaren play well? He did.
Yeah.
He absolutely did. But he's an average thrower of the football. Like, I'm not going to sit here and just shine Jaren Hall into like Ty Detmer or reincarnate. I'm not doing that.
The score doesn't. Them scoring that many points doesn't mean that Jaren Hall is somehow, the Jesus Christ of football. You know what I mean? That's just not the case. I mean, I think, there's a line. So everyone's going to say, oh, well, they put up 66. You guys are just haters. And that's not true. What have we said here? We've said repeatedly, Jaren played well. He did. I mean, there's no doubt about that. He played really well. Give the guy credit. However, there are still a bunch of throws I can point to where I'm like, hey, that probably is completed if the ball is placed here or placed there or basically just placed in the correct spot.
I like the back shoulder throw that everybody freaked out about. I think was the third touchdown.
Yeah, by pylon there
to Sampson. Yeah. Hey, good throw.
But notice where that ball is placed. That's classic Jaren Hall, right? That is a play where you need to underthrow your wide receiver so he can come back to it. A back shoulder throw.
And I actually don't think he's made that throw very consistently this year.
Yeah.
I think that's a step forward. There's no doubt about it. I mean, it is. My guess is that Jaren Hall is getting healthier and feeling better, and he's got more range of motion, and he feels better, and he's going to make better throws. I would expect him to rapidly improve.
Yeah.
As his health improves. But let's not sit here and say that Jaren Hall is, Jaren Hall's an average thrower of the football. Period. There's nothing that you saw Saturday night against Virginia where you're like, wow, this kid's amazing.
Yeah.
He's a good quarterback. He is a good quarterback. He's not your best quarterback. I still maintain if I was BYU, I'd be playing Baylor Romney.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm not. I'm very clearly not. And if I were BYU, I would be running the football a heck of a lot more than they are. If I were BYU, I would be playing go fast offense a heck of a lot more than they are because it covers up for a lot of the issues that you have. Hey, we can't protect the quarterback all that well. Let's play faster.
I couldn't believe that they switched. Like you were dominating early and then you just turned that off. And,
yeah.
And I was like, what are we doing? Like, why are we, what is the hesitation? Why would you not just continue to play fast and continue to tire out their defense?
And again, I will just simply say what I've said about Jaren Hall all season long. If the kid is running, he is a next level quarterback. And when you saw him run, and I wish he had run more, I will continue to say it. I wish Jaren Hall had run more, But it was nice to see him run the ball 6 times, I think 42 yards.
Yep.
And he had the touchdown. Hey, that's great.
I mean, he's clearly getting healthier. I mean, there's no doubt about that. I mean, that process is clearly taking place. I just think that if you're a BYU fan listening to the show, I don't think you should get all pissed off when we say, oh, well, he's an average thrower of the football, because he is. Everybody will tell you that. That's not just us, like, saying like hateful stuff about him. He is an average thrower of the football. There's no doubt about that.
Well, hateful.
You know what I mean? Like, it's just not in question. However, did he play well? Yes, he did. He played really well. You know, he led them to victory. There's no doubt.
And
So,
look, and if we're really truth telling about BYU, the meat of your schedule's over. You have 3 games left to play here. USC obviously is a big game. You've got 2 gimmies the next 2 weeks. I would think that you would see a lot more depth in the next 2 weeks, which would be great. By the time you get to USC, there should be no injury concerns. Everybody should be as close to 100% as they're going to be.
yeah.
You know, I mean, you've had a really successful season. You've got 1 must-win game left. You have 1 must-win game.
Yep.
And that is USC, and that is 3 weeks away, and that's at the Coliseum.
Be healthy.
It's that simple. I mean, it is not. This is not rocket science. I think that USC game is all you have to play for at this point.
Yeah.
You know, like you have got Idaho State. What is that? I think Saturday. You have the bye week. Then it's Georgia Southern. And then on the Saturday after Thanksgiving.
Bye week probably couldn't have come at a better time for them, you know?
No, I think you'd like to have the bye week right now today. This would be awesome to be coming out of that Virginia game, going in feeling good-ish, and then having a full month to prepare your defense for USC. Because you got to get better defensively. I mean, you cannot give up 200 yards on the ground. You cannot give up 49 points.
Yeah, I mean, there's just too many mental mistakes. And by the way, the tackling wasn't great either. And so that's why I say, like, it kind of makes me wonder. I mean, we're sitting here talking about these different players and different situations that are going on, and I'm just sitting here saying, what about the coaching staff? I mean, we have a big issue with play calling on the offense. I see all kinds of issues with tackling technique on the defense. I see all kinds of issues with mental mistakes on defense. You know, guys not being in the position they should be. You know, corner thinking he's got safety help when he doesn't. Like, there are just these mental mistakes that you're seeing in the game that, you know, lead to a team like Virginia getting 49 points.
You cannot give up 49. You can't. Furthermore, you can't give up 200 yards on the ground. It's never going to be good enough.
And that's a trend too. This is not the first team to run on BYU. It's not.
No, I would agree with that.